Hi everyone, welcome to Frontend Mechanics. My name is Nikhil, and in this video we'll be seeing the concept of connecting a React form with Firestore. It's a simple and straightforward concept, but there are some complexities which make it difficult to understand. So in this video we'll be taking a very straightforward, very easy to implement approach that you can follow along. So if you see on the screen, we have a contact form on our left hand side with the properties of name, email address and message. So as soon as we hit the submit button over here, you can see on the right hand side a new field has been populated. So if you click this, we'll be able to see all the inputs that we have provided. So let's see how we can build this form and let's get started. Alright then. Our objective for this video is to quickly understand how we can connect our React form to Firebase. So to get started, the very first thing that we are going to need is a form. Now either you can create your own form, style it and then continue from the video, or if you want you can clone this GitHub repo that you see on the screen. I have created a basic form here so that we can get started quickly. I will keep the starter code on the main branch so that you can find it without any issue. Once you clone the repo or download it, please open this up in your VS Code and run the command npm install or npm I to install all the dependencies. I've used Vite over here to configure the project because I believe it's much faster and more efficient. Now if we head directly to our app.jsx, I'll close this. So here we can see that I've used React Bootstrap. You can see over here I've used React Bootstrap to style and rapidly design all the components. So the very first thing that we see over in our code over here is container. So this container contains everything that we have inside of our code. Next thing that we can see here is a div. So this div is essentially a wrapper for our form. Within this div we have our entire form. So within this form we have our form group, and the first form group we have is name, the second is email address, and the third is message. So the label contains the label for all of these elements like name, and the control is similar to our input types. If you see on the top now, I have used useState over here for name, email and message, and then I've used all these values in each of the respective fields. So value name, value email and value message over here. Lastly, for each of this form control I have used onChange, and by using this onChange we are just setting our state by using an appropriate value. So this is just a basic form and there's nothing special in it. Lastly, if we head to app.css and index.css, we can see some basic styling that we have done in order to style the form. The objective of this video is to focus on the integration part and not on the styling part. So I've already created this form and you can make use of it. So to run our code, we'll be using npm run dev. When you run this command, this will spin up the server and it will host our application over there. So if we click over there, we can see this particular form. So we have three fields: name, email address and message with a submit button. It's a simple form. Now let's see how we can integrate Firebase into it. Okay, so the next thing that we have to do is we need to head to Firebase, and for that purpose we can write console.firebase.google.com and enter. So this will take us to the Firebase console. For this project we are going to add the new project over here. You can name it anything that you like, but I'll name it sample YouTube. We'll click on continue. If you want all these analytics in your project, then you can keep them on, but I'll turn them off for now, and I'll click on create project. So as soon as we do this is going to create a new project for us and set up everything. This will take about 10 to 15 seconds, so let's wait for it. So now our project is ready. We can click on continue over here. And inside of build, you'll find Firestore Database. We're going to use Firestore Database. So we'll click this. Next, we have to click on the create database button over here. I'll start the database in the production mode itself. If you want, you can start it in a test mode. Then we'll click on next and then enable. Depending upon your location, it will set a Firestore location, but it's best to keep the default because it's the most optimal one. If you want, you can change it from the list, and then we can click on enable. So that's it. Our Cloud Firestore with the project of sample YouTube is now ready. So now we need to head to the setting button over here. Go to project settings, go down, and right now we don't have any app in our project. You can either choose iOS or Android, but we are building a web app, so we'll click here. We need to name our app, so we'll name it React Form. If you want, you can use Firebase hosting, but we are not going to do that right now, so simply register our app. Once the app is registered, it will give you all the information with the API key and the project ID and the storage bucket and everything. We need all these configurations, so make sure to copy and paste it. Here we can see our npm install, so we'll need this. Right now we'll just continue to our console. So if we scroll down, we can see our app has been set up. Our web app with the name of React Form, it has been set up. So we'll take this npm install, copy this, go to our code base, and we'll install this over here. I'll open up a new window. I'll install the Firebase over here. So now our Firebase has been installed within our application. So the very first thing is what we need to import some dependencies. So let's do that. The very first thing that we need is import Firebase from Firebase /compat/app. So we are going to use this, and we need one more import statement. We need Firebase /compat/firestore. So these are just two import statements that we need to get started. Now head over to your console, copy these, your Firebase config, copy this, and you can come here, paste it up. Now our Firebase config is ready. We just need to initialize our app. So firebase.initialize app, and how do we want to initialize it? By using Firebase config. But before doing so, let's make a check. I'll explain what it is. So firebase.app.length, and we'll keep this block of code within this. I'll save this for now and I'll explain you what I've done. So this block of code checks if there are any existing Firebase app instances. So if there are none, so we have used this rule over here. So if there are none, it initializes the app with the provided configuration, which is the Firebase config. So this check can be useful when we have multiple instances of Firebase initialized in our app. So this will ensure that it's only initialized once. This is it. Now we just need to export it. So export const, we'll name it Firestore, and we'll use Firebase.firestore. And that's literally it. So this is just the configuration file that you need for your Firestore to Firebase to get started. We don't need complex and very heavy configurations. This is all. Now the next thing we can do is we can include all of this configuration within our app.jsx. So how we're going to do this? We go here. The very first thing at the very top, let's import it. So import Firestore from Firebase. So this is our file and this is our function. So if we click, if we go down within the handle submit, what we can do is Firestore dot collection. You can name this collection anything. I'll name it messages. You can name it anything that you like. This is just the name in order for you to identify where your info is stored. So the collection, we can name it as messages. Within this collection, we can run a function add, and within this add, what we'll add is name, email, and message. So within this collection, add all these fields, right? We'll use it then. And within this then, we'll set name, set our email, and set our message. Lastly, we can use a catch block. So, sorry, not here. Dot catch. If there's an error over here, we can print this error. So console dot error, and we can write error submitting data, and we can use this error over here. So that's all. So I'll explain you what we have done. We have used Firestore, and to the collection we are adding these three properties: name, email, and message, similar to our use state over here. So name, email, and message. And when it's done, when we have successfully added it, we can set the name, email, and message to their initial state, like empty state. And in case if there's any error over here, so we can catch it. So that's it. Our application has now been set up and it has been connected with Firebase. So let's try to input some values and see if there's any error or we are successful. So let's head over to our app and see. So if I write anything over here, write anything like name Nikhil, an ID of n@n.com, and our message n, I'll keep our console on over here. Shift it to this side, the console. If I try to submit this, we're getting the error. So submitting data, there's some insufficient permissions. So what's the issue here? So let's head over to our Firestore database, and within this, let's go to rules. So these rules, these are extremely restrictive. So that means anyone with even with access control and all the permissions, so it won't allow them to read or write anything from the Firestore database. So these rules, being extremely restrictive, would effectively render the entire database unusable. So in a real world scenario, what we want is we want to customize these rules and provide appropriate access. So I'll provide you a set of rules so we can edit these and publish them. So these rules, if we paste all these rules over here, this will allow us to publish our data in Cloud Firestore. You can generate these rules from ChatGPT or you can search for them. There are different kinds of rules depending upon the severity and the complexity of your application. But for testing purposes, these are the perfect set of rules. So I'll publish it. So these are now published. Let's go to data. Nothing as of yet. Let's go back to our form. I'll refresh it and I'll again write everything. If I click on submit now, let's see if this has been done or not. We'll go to our Firestore database. Right now there's nothing. Let's refresh it. Because this is a new collection, first time we will have to refresh it. So the messages that we enter from here are shown here. Let's add it one more time. So second at gmail.com and second. I'll submit this. It's done. And as soon as we hit submit over there, we're able to see one more document. So that's it. We are able to set all the fields, and as we can see, we have received name, message, and email. So that was our implementation. I hope you liked it. I kept the entire explanation and the implementation straightforward and easy to understand. Before you use this form either in your website or in your project, please make sure to validate all the fields. We haven't done any kind of validation in this form. So before you use it, please validate all the fields, because validation is extremely important in forms. So that's it for this video, and I'll bring more interesting content in the future. So stay subscribed, and I'll see you the next time.